Back with a quick video on the GS, and man, it's been a couple months that really been changing and doing some upgrades to the project. Really just enjoying just seeing the progression and the milestones on the GS build. So without further ado, let me go ahead and show you guys where I'm at. All right, so two big things that you guys see here. Finally got the motor assembled. So I'll do like a quick breakdown on that. And we got the car on the ground. So I'll quickly just explain that and let you guys know how everything worked out and what are we doing to move forward after this. All right, so the first thing is the motor. So I got the motor back. I got it assembled by a buddy of mine, Young Yeti, on Instagram. You can follow him. So I had already had most of the parts for the motor itself. Basically, I just brought everything and he was able to do what he does and put it back together. I didn't want to honestly even try to attempt to assemble it after the machine shop. I wanted to leave somebody with experience in assembling motors and just do everything for me. So from this point, at least the long block is assembled. I can pretty much do everything else myself. I still got a couple things I gotta do, but just to kind of do like a quick rundown. I bought this GT and then broke it down, took everything I didn't need to use and pretty much started buying everything new. I brought the head and the block to the machine shop. Still is a stock bottom end, stock pistons, stock rods. The only thing is obviously we changed all the piston rings, bearings, and things like that. And then as far as the head is concerned, the head, it is a built head. It has BC 272 cams. It has Ferrera valve train, so intake and exhaust valves. And then I also did, I believe the BC valve springs and titanium retainers. And then everything else as far as accessories is all pretty much Powerhouse. So valve covers, VVTi cam gear, exhaust cam gear, brand new tensioner, all the pulleys from Powerhouse. Got the ATI crank pulley, the water necks, all Powerhouse as well. We cleaned up the upper oil pan, put a new lower oil pan, and all the baffles and stuff like that inside that. All the hardware is, I believe, from Mazworks. So they got like a nice kit that you're able to go ahead and pretty much change all the bolts. So I wanted to go ahead and do that. On top here, all the studs and the valve cover bolts and stuff is from Bear Boost Performance. They're all titanium on the exhaust side and on the intake side. So that's pretty much right now the motor. Before I drop it in, I gotta get an alternator. Still missing that. I'm not putting AC on the car, so there won't be a compressor for the AC. I just wanna go ahead and put the alternator on. Once I got the alternator, then I need to powder coat the motor mounts before I put the motor mounts, and then I gotta put the oil filter housing. We went ahead and went with an NA one. So I gotta put the motor mounts first before I go ahead and put the housing. Once I got the motor mounts powder coated, then I'm gonna go ahead and drop the motor in. Transmission wise though, I don't have a transmission yet. We are gonna go with the CD009. I still gotta get that. I gotta get all the hub, everything, clutch, all that stuff. So that's still, in the works. I haven't got there yet, but I do kind of want to just basically get this ready, the long block, to be dropped in here. And that's the main goal right now. Hopefully I can do that within a couple months. So yeah, that's the motor. But as far as the car is concerned, very exciting moment to finally get this car on the ground. So I'll just show you guys a quick view of how everything looks, how it's coming along. This is obviously not going to be the driving height. This is just the car, you know, bagged out. Check out how low that is. Crazy thing is though, ever since I did the tubs, even bagged out, the wheels still doesn't touch anything. So like I can literally air up the rear and leave the front like this, and the car will still move. So that's pretty cool. Everything is like literally in clearance. And then let me go show you guys underneath on the bottom of how the floor looks. And look how much clearance we have on the floor. Sorry, it's kind of hard to focus on, but the clearance that we have now, even with the vehicle being, you know, bagged out. So right now, how we set it up, it was me and my buddy AJ, we're the ones that kind of worked on getting this thing, at least running the airlines, getting the tank and stuff like that set up so we can bag the car and move it outside. So what we did in the front right now is about -15, I believe. And to get that fitment the way we wanted it, we actually have a 15mm spacer on there. So I think that really looks good. It's a tight fitment right there close to the fender. And so we're still working on that. You know, I'm trying to get it as close as possible, and especially I want the rear to be matching the front. So the rear we cambered out. Well, we brought in a little bit more camber on the upper control arm. So now it's -15 on both sides, but there's still a gap on the quarter panel and the wheel. So I have a 5mm spacer on the back. And, you know, when we were looking at it, we were thinking about somewhere between like an 8mm or a 10mm spacer, just to kind of stick it out and have it a little bit closer to the quarter panel, and so that it matches the front. Because the back is slightly sunk in, you can kind of tell. It still somewhat matches, but we can really push out this wheel a little bit more, and then the stance would look really flush both from the front and the rear. So that's what we're working on. So obviously this is all, you know, like just slowly but surely, just building progress over the, you know, trying to get the stance, trying to get everything moving around. But little by little, we're really starting to see this car, like, you know, get to its form and how I like visioned it. So let me show you guys the setup. Like I said, it's not gonna stay like this. This is just so I can get it going. So this is pretty much like this, the tank, the compressor, and the airlift. We got all the lines running everywhere. Like I said, this is just to kind of get it, you know, aired up, rolling off the jack stands and seeing what it did. So yeah, I just kind of want to show you guys how the progress is coming along with the car and the motor. So the next thing right now is basically I'm gonna put the vehicle back on the jack stands in a little bit, and I'm gonna be cleaning up basically the airlines, making sure now that we routed them, I kind of know where I want to put them, start mounting them onto like the floor, tying them up, you know, making sure that they're secure and everything like that, and then just cut off the, you know, the excess airlines and stuff like that I don't need. And then from there, I got to do the brake lines. So brake lines are going to be obviously going to be custom, just because there's no, I took out the brake lines from the front all the way to basically the back, kind of where like the fuel tank was. So the brake lines are going to run from the back where the tank was through the passenger rail. I'm going to run it right on the top, and then basically I'm going to run it up the firewall inside here, and then along the firewall, and then into the booster, and basically so that all the brake lines and everything like that are not in the engine bay anymore. I'm going to run it behind it and try to basically do like some bulkheads here and do some 180s or 90s fittings or something like that I need to, so I can fit it to the booster. So that's kind of the idea right now. I'm trying to figure all that out as far as what I need. with brake lines. I don't think it's gonna be too difficult, but it's just a matter of kind of just looking through it and really getting it situated. So, but yeah, that's pretty much how the progress of the car is coming along. Like I said, it's really starting to look cool. Like, just I'm so excited just, you know, to see everything kind of seeing on the floor. Just, you know, little by little. And obviously one day we'll get this thing fired up. So I'm pretty excited about that. So yeah, I just wanted to update on the car. And yeah, keep you guys posted. Peace.